The director of city planning in the city of Rotterdam, and after that did the regional planning in the south wing of Randstad, talking about the future of Randstad, and now I'm working on the water question in the Netherlands, the Delft. I will introduce you to some of the things, let's say, where we have to work on in this country. In a way to say, we are in a situation that we have to reinvent the city. And by thinking about that, there is a question of the territory itself. That might be very strange to say that to you. So the simple thing, simple fact that we in the Netherlands have constructed our country, and that we are now in a stadium in which, on the one hand, the urbanization is so large. On the second level, the water management question is so deep. On the third level, that the whole agrarian industry takes over parts of our country. That makes it that we have to think over what anyhow is then this country. It looks like a country which is only a management question where we make economical profit, or might it be something different? And the second thing in the relation to that is, what then is the city in this changing territory? And of course, I don't think I'm going to give you in 20 minutes the answer to these questions, but I will just introduce you to the subjects that we deal with, that makes this country, for me at least, a fascinating thing to work on. Because everything's changing so fast, and it's so industrialized. The agrarian industry, you will see pictures of that. It's so industrialized that we have a question of not only understanding what city is and what, let's say, outskirts is, or what landscape is, we are permanently rethinking it. Okay, and we have a lot of dilemmas, you could say, in our plan. The first thing is that we have a kind of unsatisfactory outcome of the growth of all this. People are not very happy with the situation we are in. They blame the planners. Might be interesting to be blamed, but on the other hand, it's of course our own way of doing it. So you can blame the management, but you can also say, what is the way people act? And the second thing, of course, is unsatisfactory internal reachability. That's the reason why I'm a little bit late here. So there's every time we have this small problem. And that's the same in London, although, and we don't dare to do this congestion charge. So if we did, perhaps it would be managed better. Third thing is that the climate change makes it necessary to rethink the water management. Sea level rise, you know that. Although I know that the west coast of the Netherlands and the east coast of England might be the east coast even more threatened by the sea level rise of the Netherlands because of the wind change, etc. But we are working on this third point, very interested, very deeply now, and rethinking the whole thing. Then the fourth point is quite interesting. You know, yesterday there was this Afghanistan thing in The Hague, and I think 19 countries were there. But I think the mental map of the Netherlands is a little bit global oriented. So there is an international reality. We have a very big harbor. Schiphol Airport is quite large. We have a very international position in The Hague with international courts. But the real thing is that the local interests mostly are the preliminary interests in the political field. So it's very difficult to manage a planning strategy to position your city into this international, let's say, competition. Like you have in London now a kind of machine that we name it Olympic Games. It's blocked there in the middle on the south of your South Bank, in a kind of very interesting territory. We, I think, would quarrel up to the end where this should happen in the Netherlands, if ever. And so, in England, it's no question to do this in London. Which city should we choose? Should we anyhow make a choice? Is it necessary to make a choice? So interesting. Thinking internationally and acting locally makes that Amsterdam and Rotterdam goes both to China separately. last local and urban government power, but the reality of the Netherlands is that there is a growing metropolitan reality. And we have a new planning law which I won't talk about. So this is in fact the actual you see, 1850, 1940, still a country of cities in a Greek territory, and then 1970, and now we can't speak about this same situation. So the change, the last 30 years, is so huge that the question, where does the city end, is at stake. And then of course all the levels of governance I won't talk about. Then you come to the level, what is the city? Some people say this is the European city. Let's say talking about the French banana, perhaps you know, this is the French banana. You know that the French banana is found by a Frenchman, and they say it's planning, but it's not planning. This is a way you can look to Europe. The mid-England and London, the Dutch territories, the territory of the rural area, let's say the territory of the north of Switzerland, which is very urbanized, in the north of Italy. That's a kind of urbanized zone. And that's quite different from, let's say, the position of a city like Paris. If any of you have ever drove to Paris, you know that you come across the north of France and there is nothing. There is normally grain, something, but there's nothing. And then suddenly there is Paris. Or you go to Berlin. There is a lot of time, nothing. And then you come to Berlin. But if you just go through this territory, you have an urbanized field. So also here is the question, what is the city then in this field? Where does the city start? Where does it end? And then we come up to our own country. You see this light blue on the map, and we know that this is a little bit the wet side. Some people say this will be left over in 2070 when the storm comes, when the soil sinks, and let's say it will, if we don't defend. So we are living in the delta. This is our delta, and if we don't work at it, perhaps only the king will survive. Okay, so we come to Dutch national planning policy.